On this day in history, June 21st, 1639, Increase Mather, American minister and author, is born. Included in the following is an excerpt from the 1944 edition of the Encyclopedia Britannica, going over the history of the poet, and featuring narration from my friend, Oswald.
Increase Mather, born 1639, died 1723, American congressional minister and author, was the youngest son of Richard Mather. Born in Dorchester on June 21st, 1639, he graduated Harvard in 1656, took his master's degree at Trinity College in Dublin in 1658, and ministered to congregations at Gera Torrington, Devonshire, at Guernsey, at Gloucester, at Weymouth, and Dorchester in Dorsetshire. He returned to Boston in 1661, and in the next year married Maria, daughter of Reverend John Cotton. He became teacher of the Second Church in Boston in 1664, licenser of the press in 1674, fellow of Harvard in 1675, and in 1685, president of the college. In 1688, he went to London as the emissary of some of the Massachusetts churches to try and regain the old colonial charter. In 1690, he was made one of the colony's official agents in England. He stayed in London until 1692, interviewing James II, William III, Queen Mary, and many others influential in politics. He enlisted in his cause the good offices not only as Puritan brethren, but of Penn the Quaker and of Bishops Burnet and Tillotson, the Anglicans. The old charter was not restored, but Mather was instrumental in making some of the terms of the new charter in 1691 more favorable to the colonists than they might otherwise have been. The king allowed him to nominate the royal governor and the other officers for the first year under the new charter. Phipps, the governor of Mather's choice, proved unpopular, as did the charter itself, so that, in 1701, those who combated Mather's political views, or envied his powers, forced him from the presidency of Harvard. For the rest of his life he was less active in public affairs, but he wrote much and remained a dominating figure in congressional councils. In 1721 he joined the campaign for inoculation for smallpox, in spite of his age and heedless of popular opposition. He published more than 150 books, most of them theological, but a few dealing with history, biography, or, in part, with science. Here's what's considered his best works. The Life of Richard Mather, 1670. His political tracts written in 1688 through 1693. His essay for the recording of illustrious providences, 1684, a collection of narratives of strange happenings in New England with discussion of a few scientific topics. His brief history of the war with the Indians, 1676, and his account of the Indian Wars in New England, a relation of the Troubles, 1677. His Cases of Conscience, 1693, displays his attitude towards the witchcraft trials of 1692, and it is likely that the appearance of this book did much to end convictions for witchcraft in Massachusetts going forward. Harvard developed during Mather's term of office. His agency in England had important historical results, and many attribute his experiences because of his reputation as a preacher and a scholar. He manifested his interest in science by forming a scientific society in Boston in 1683. His large library reflected the wide range of his readings in politics, science, the classics, and history, as well as in theology. He was also known for his hot temper. Because of this, he would be a stout champion of his own doctrines, though he was more moderate in debate than most of his adversaries, and his reputed ambition made him enemies, who were, however, always outnumbered at home and abroad by those who revered him as a leader. He grew in tolerance, and in 1718 helped to ordain a Baptist minister in Boston. On one occasion at least, members of other sects were admitted to communion in his church. Among his friends were Richard Baxter, the great English Puritan, and the physicist Robert Boyle. To them he seemed, as to most later historians, the most powerful man of his time in the Puritan colonies.